Hello, everyone, and welcome into Coach Craig's Sports. This is the MLB DFS Core Pick video for Friday, May 9th. If you're joining me for the very first time, first of all, welcome in. Second of all, this is how today's video will be structured. We'll be going over my core picks. It's going to be one pitcher, four hitters. It's going to be based on a combination of past performance versus their respective opponent, as well as some recent history. And then after that, we'll get moved over to my cheat sheet and talk about my top GPP teams to stack for Friday's slate overall. There's going to be 4 teams in total there. Obviously, feel free to mix and match as you do see fit, as there is 12 games going on, so 24 teams in total. Going to be a good Friday slate overall. In the morning, I'll be posting my early morning weather report that I'll have any game that does have a double-digit chance of rain or higher. Throughout the afternoon and early evening, I'll be posting as many of these starting laps that I can get to down in that comment section as well. So definitely make sure that you are checking up down there, especially as we do get closer to lock. But without further ado, we'll get right into it with the core picks for Friday's slate. So we're going to start off at the pitcher position all the way at the top with Hunter Brown at $11,000. He's averaging over 44 fantasy points per game. He goes against the Cincinnati Reds. He has good history versus them in the past, although it is a limited sample size at that. So maybe like ever so slight concern if you really want to get there, but he is the most expensive pitcher on the slate. He's been the most consistent pitcher of this group overall throughout the season so far, so I definitely do like the upside that he does present. And if we look at what he's done so far in the season, 5 wins, ERA is at 1.67, continuing that good success from the second half of last year over to the beginning of this year as well, averaging just over 44 fantasy points per game at $11,000. Then we're going to move down to first base with Carlos Santana of the Cleveland Guardians, $2,800, averaging just over 9 fantasy points per game. He goes against the Philadelphia Phillies. Aaron Nola is the expected starting pitcher for them. He is 2 for 4 with 1 home run versus Aaron Nola in his career. He's on a modest 3-game hitting streak as we do speak. 1 multi-hit game during that time span, 1 home run. But all 3 of those games have been double-digit performances, so definitely do like the upside out of him at $2,800. He currently has a .234 average, 4 home runs, 16 RBIs, once again averaging just over 9 fantasy points per game on the season. And then we're going to move down to third base with Manny Machado, $3,900, and he's averaging over 11 fantasy points per game. Goes against the Colorado Rockies out in Coors Field. Antonio Senzatella will be the expected starting pitcher for them. He is 9 for 23 with 1 home run versus Senzatella in his career, and Manny Machado is on an 8-game hitting streak as we do speak. He has 4 multi-hit games, 1 home run, 5 double-digit performances, and 7 out of those 8 games he's had at least 9 fantasy points or higher. So he does definitely offer a safe floor with some high-end upside at the same time as well. If we look at what he's done so far on the season, .306 batting average, 3 home runs, 16 RBIs, averaging over 11 fantasy points per game at $3,900. And then we're going to move down to the outfield. We're going to start off with Mike Yastrzemski of the San Francisco Giants. $3,300, averaging over 10.5 fantasy points per game, goes against the Minnesota Twins. It is expected that Chris Paddock will make the start for them. Their rotation's kind of moved around a little bit this week as Joe Ryan has been dealing with an illness, but Mike Yastrzemski is 7 for 15 with 2 home runs versus Chris Paddock in his career. He's had at least 1 hit in 6 out of his last 7 games, 3 multi-hit games during that time span. He also has 1 home run, 3 double-digit performances, and 5 games of at least 9 fantasy points or higher. So does offer a decently safe floor with some high-end upside at the same time as well. Price tag's a little bit more up there for Mike Yastrzemski, but if we look at what he's done so far on the season, .278 batting average, 5 home runs, 17 RBIs, once again averaging just over 10.5 fantasy points per game on the season. And then last but not least, we're going to go down to Cody Bellinger. You could also play him at first base, but we have Carlos Santana there at this point in time. He's $3,000, averaging just under 10 fantasy points per game. He goes against the Oakland Athletics, and it is Osvaldo Bieda making the start for them. He has 2 for 5 versus Bieda in his career. He's on a modest 5-game hitting streak as we do speak. 1 multi-hit game during that time span, so that's kind of like the one downside to Cody Bellinger as of late, but he does have 2 home runs, 3 double-digit performances, and 4 of the 5 games during that current hitting streak, he's had at least 9 fantasy points or higher, so it does offer a relatively safe floor. Obviously, it's been a slower start to the season for Cody Bellinger with the .215 batting average, 5 home runs, 20 RBIs, averaging just under 10 fantasy points per game at $3,000. But with that being said, if you go with the 5 players that I do currently have listed here, you have $11,000 remaining, just over $2,700 remaining per player. So obviously we don't have a lot of money left over. You know, if you want to drop down from Manny Machado to somebody else, if we're playing Hunter Brown, definitely can do that. If you want to pay down from Hunter Brown to a different pitcher, that will open up some salary at the same time as well. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to my cheat sheet and talk about my top teams to stack for Friday's slate overall. So we're going to start off with the New York Yankees. They are going against Osvaldo Bieda of the Athletics. Not a long list of history there for Yankees hitters, but Cody Bellinger is going to lead the way. He does have the most experience and most success for him in the past. Then we have the Dodgers going against Eduardo Rodriguez. Most of these guys have hit him pretty well in the past, so definitely do like getting into some Dodgers bats, especially if we can pay up for Freddie Freeman, who's been on a tear as of late. And then we got the San Diego Padres going against Antonio Senzatella. A good majority of these Padres hitters have hit him pretty well in the past. Obviously, the game's out at Coors Field, so that should definitely help them out at the same time as well. And then last but not least, we have the San Francisco Giants going against Chris Paddock, potentially on short rest. Mike Yastrzemski, Wilmer Flores, they're going to be the two main ones there. You could look at Patrick Bailey, but mix and match some other bats in there as well. I don't mind Matt Chapman on the slate. So a lot of the ways that we can approach our stacks for today overall. But with that being said, this is what I do have in terms of my core picks, as well as top GPP teams to stack for Friday, May 9th. As always, if you have any questions related to MLB DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comment section, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. In the morning, I'll be listing my early morning weather report once again, so that we'll have any game that does have a double-digit chance of rain or higher. And then I will also be listing as many of these starting lineups as I can get to throughout the afternoon and early evening. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we have MLB DFS in terms of the core pick videos Monday through Friday. We got my UFL DFS video coming out once a week. Typically, that's coming out on Wednesdays. This week, it did come out on Thursdays. So definitely be sure to check that out if that's something you're into as well. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting whatsoever, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS, Prize Picks, and Parlay Play. If you're a brand new user on any one of those three sites, when you sign up, make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Prize Picks and Parlay Play, it's 100% match up to $100. And then for BetUS, it's 125% match up to $2,000. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. If you have any other additional questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comment section of this video or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in MLB DFS for Friday, May 9th.